Hello everyone, myself Mrs. Archana Matre, lecturer in Electronics and Telecommunication Department. In this video, we are going to start with the first unit of the subject Basic Electronic. The unit number 1 is Semiconductor Diode. So first we will study about the energy band diagram. Now in this diagram you can see this is the energy band diagram. On x-axis it is the age of the nucleus, and on y-axis it has a energy. So first band of the atom, second band of the atom, then this is the valence band of the atom, then this is the conduction band of the atom, and this is called as a forbidden energy gap, which is denoted by Eg. Now let's see the explanation. In solids, several bands of energy levels are formed due to the intermixing of atoms in solid. We call this set of energy levels as energy band. The energy band diagram shown in figure is simply graphical representation of the energy levels associated with the electrons in different shells. Every shell of an atom contains a discrete amount of energy at different levels. Energy band theory explains the interaction of electrons between the outermost shell and the innermost shell of the atom. Based on the energy band theory, there are three different energy bands. First is a valence band, then forbidden energy gap, then conduction band. Now we will see the detailed explanation of this band. First is a valence band. The electrons in the outermost shell are known as the valence electrons. These valence electrons contains a series of energy levels and form an energy band known as valence band. The valence band has the second highest occupied energy. Now next is a conduction band. The valence electrons are not tightly held to the nucleus, due to which a few of these valence electrons leave the outermost orbit even at room temperature and become free electrons. The free electrons are responsible for flow of current in conductors, and therefore it is known as the conduction electrons. More the number of electrons in the conduction band, more will be the current flow. Conduction band has the highest occupied energy levels. That means depending upon the number of free electrons, the current will flow through the circuitry. Now next is a forbidden energy gap. The gap between the valence band and the conduction band is referred to as a forbidden gap. Practically no electrons can normally exist in the forbidden gap. For any given type of material, the forbidden gap may be large, small, or even non-exist. The materials are classified as conductor, insulator, semiconductor based on the relative width of that forbidden gap. The forbidden energy gap is measured in electron volts. Now next we will see the classification of solids on the basis of energy band diagram. Now on the basis of energy band diagram, the solid can be classified as conductor, semiconductor, or insulator. Now classification on the basis of energy theory. Based on the ability of various materials to conduct current, the materials are classified as conductor, insulator, semiconductor. This is the diagram for conductor. As you can see here, there is no forbidden gap between the valence band and conduction band. For semiconductor, there is narrow forbidden gap, small forbidden gap between the valence and conduction band. And in insulator, you can see that there is a large forbidden gap or wide forbidden gap between the valence band and conduction band. Now first we will study about the conductors. Now this is the energy band diagram for conductors. Normally the conductors are the material which allows the current to flow very easily. This is due to the large number of free electrons present in the conductors. For metals like copper, aluminium, there is no forbidden gap present between the valence band and conduction band. The two bands overlap, hence even at room temperature a large number of electrons are available for conduction. So without any additional energy, such metals contains a large number of free electrons and hence it called as a good conductors. Now next is an insulator. This is the energy band diagram for insulator. You can see there is a wide energy gap, forbidden gap. The forbidden gap is very wide, approximately about 6 electron volts. In case of insulating material, there exists a large forbidden gap in between the conduction band and valence band. Practically, it is impossible for an electron to jump from the valence band to conduction band. Hence, such materials cannot conduct and is called as an insulator. In case of some insulator, the conduction may take place at very high temperature, as then the energy acquired by the valence electrons is sufficient to take them into the conduction band. The example of insulating materials are glass, wood, mica, paper. You all know that from this glass, wood, mica, paper, the current of flow will not be exist. Next type of solids are the semiconductors. Here there is narrow forbidden gap, small forbidden gap. Semiconductor are most important type of materials. They have the conduction properties which are in between those of the conductor and insulator. Semiconductor are neither insulator nor conductors. The forbidden gap in such materials is very narrow, is about 1 electron volt as shown in figure. Such materials are called as semiconductor. For such materials, the energy provided by the heat at room temperature is sufficient to lift the electrons from the valence band to the conduction band. Therefore, at room temperature, semiconductors are capable for conduction. So, semiconductor have the conductivity between the conductors and insulator. Now, next generation of a hole. Now, this diagram is for valence electrons go to the conduction band due to the absorbed thermal energy. You can see here, this is the valence band, this is the conduction band. Now these are the electrons and these are the holes. So how the holes can be generated? So this is the theory for that. When the electron breaks a covalent bond and becomes a free, a vacancy is created in the broken covalent bond. This vacancy is called as a hole. Thus, corresponding to every free electrons, a hole is created. Therefore, a number of free electrons generated due to the increased temperature is exactly equal to the number of holes. As the free electrons and holes gets generated in pair, they are called as a thermally generated electron-hole pairs. In this pair, the hole is the valence band while the electrons is in the conduction band. The electrons and holes both can operate a charge carriers. The hole is said to have the positive charge as it is nothing but the absence of the electron. The generation of electron-hole pair is shown in figure. Now the hole having the positive charge while the electrons having the negative charge. Now next, there are two types of semiconductor. Semiconductor like intrinsic semiconductor and extrinsic semiconductor. Now we have seen that the semiconductor have the conductivity between the conductor and insulator. Now these are the common materials for semiconductor like silicon and germanium. Now we will see these two types in detail. First is an intrinsic semiconductor. A semiconductor is an extremely pure form without any impurity is called as a intrinsic semiconductor. The intrinsic semiconductor are insulator or very poor conductors at room temperature. That is, conductivity of this semiconductor will become zero at room temperature. The increasing temperature or application of increased voltage does not increase their conductivity significantly. Therefore, the intrinsic semiconductors are not practically used for manufacturing of devices. The intrinsic semiconductor example are silicon and germanium. Now, next type is the extrinsic semiconductor. As the intrinsic semiconductor material have negligible conductivity at room temperature, it is not useful for practical applications of electronics. For improving the electrical conductivity of intrinsic semiconductor material, a certain amount of desired impurity atoms are to be added into it. The intrinsic semiconductor containing small amount of desired impurity atom is known as the extrinsic semiconductor. It is also defined as the doped intrinsic semiconductor. It is the impure form of the semiconductor is known as a extrinsic semiconductor. So intrinsic is a pure form of semiconductor, while extrinsic is a impure form of semiconductor. Now next terms are doping and dopant. The definition of doping is that the process of adding impurity atoms to the intrinsic semiconductor is known as doping. The purpose of adding impurity is to increase either the number of electrons or holes in the semiconductor crystal, that is to increase the conductivity of the intrinsic semiconductor. Next term is dopant. The material which is being used as impurity in the process of doping is called as dopant. Now next there are two types of impurities added to the semiconductor. First is trivalent impurity, second is pentavalent impurity. Now first we will see trivalent impurity, also called as expector impurity. Here this is the diagram for boron atom. You can see the outermost orbit of the boron atom has 3 electrons. So it is a trivalent atom. The impurity elements that accept the free electrons from the intrinsic semiconductor is called as trivalent impurity element. The trivalent impurity atom have 3 valence electrons. The various example of trivalent impurity includes the boron, gallium, indium, aluminium, etc. These atom has 3 electrons on his outermost orbit. Next is a pentavalent impurity, also called as donor impurity, because it has a 5 electrons in his outermost orbit. Now this is the phosphor atom. You can see that the phosphor atom has a 5 electrons in its outermost orbit, so it is a pentavalent atom. The impurity element that provides excess of free electrons to the intrinsic semiconductor is called as pentavalent impurity element. The pentavalent impurity atom have 5 valence electrons. The various example of pentavalent atom is phosphor, arsenic, antimony, etc. So this atom has the 5 electron on his outermost orbit. So these are the pentavalent impurity atom. Thank you.